So Donald Trump is in massive, gargantuan legal trouble, even more than he was just a day ago, because late last night it was announced that he's facing new criminal charges in New York State. As you might recall, we've been talking about Manhattan-based charges against Trump on the issue of tax fraud. They're being investigated right now. But it was announced yesterday that the Trump Organization is being investigated criminally by the state attorney general, Letitia James. Up until now, till last night, that investigation was civil only. Now it's criminal. Let me read you a statement. It says, "We've informed the Trump Organization that our investigation into the organization is no longer purely civil in nature. We are now actively investigating the Trump Organization in a criminal capacity along with the Manhattan DA. We have no additional comment." And so there's a few key things here, really three big things. One, it shows that there is criminal investigative corroboration and cooperation between two branches of the government here, between the state attorney general and the district attorney in Manhattan. And that cooperation increases the likelihood that dirt will be found and that Donald Trump will end up with criminal charges, and you might see Orange Man in an orange jumpsuit. It increases the likelihood of all of those things happening. And as somebody who wants to see that ghoul face justice, I love to see it. It also matters because for the first time, it connects Trump and the Trump Organization in a criminal capacity. There had been some criminal charges pending against Trump. There had been some civil charges at the organization. There's also individual civil charges against Trump. This is the first time that ex-President Trump has a criminal charge connecting the Trump Organization to Donald John Trump, the human being. And that shows all these potential vectors to connect his tax crime as a person to, let's say, corporate tax crime or corporate fraud or some kind of corporate crime that he had a role in. And so that's more opportunities for him to face severe legal penalties in addition to civil penalties. And what might be the biggest deal of all in this particular instance relates to his kids, Don Jr., Eric, and Ivanka in particular. Because before, they had sort of been on the edges of all of this. We knew that maybe they were involved in some of the inauguration crimes, that Don Jr. may have committed perjury, but now is the real point where they are implicated in Trump's criminal capacity. Because Don Jr. and Eric and Ivanka, at least on and off for years, played senior roles in the Trump Organization. And so it wasn't just that they were rank and file employees, it was that Eric and Don Jr. and Ivanka were like the bigwigs at the Trump Organization. And so it's very clear now that not only is Trump facing criminal charges, and not only is Trump's business facing criminal charges, but Trump's kids could well end up personally and corporately with criminal charges. This is a big deal. You might say, oh, Trump's never going to end up in prison. I dare to dream, but it's not going to happen. And you might be right, but we've never seen something like this being levied upon an ex-president. My hope, Don and his evil spawn end up in prison. It might not happen, but at least they're going to sweat about it for years.